Our coverage of the mining Indaba continues, and we cross live to Cape Town, where Nompumelolo Siziba is broadcasting from. And Nompumelolo, I can see in the background where it's written "Investing in African Mining." What a lovely view in the background there. Take us through what the minister had to say when he was addressing the delegates today at the Indaba.
Thanks, Colin. Yes, well, the minister did everything that he could, or he tried to do everything that he could to try and reassure investors that South Africa is a good place to invest in. That's barring the fact that we do have major electricity supply issues, and also given the fact that we have an outstanding piece of legislation which is quite important for investors to understand before they put their money where their mouth is, so to speak. I spoke to him a little bit earlier, and I did ask him what kind of sway he would have in speeding up Parliament's looking at that piece of legislation. It doesn't really seem as though he'll have much influence, but hopefully his word will carry some weight, and there'll be an understanding and an appreciation of how important it is that amendments or that the bill be redrafted from scratch, that this process be done as quickly as possible, because for as long as that situation is outstanding, it means investors are going to be very reluctant to invest in South Africa.
Yeah,
on the electricity issue, yes?
Yeah, sorry to interrupt you there. I heard you when you were talking to the minister earlier at around lunchtime, and you wanted to actually engage him on issues relating to legislation. How much did he have to say on the podium vis-a-vis your interview that you had with him in reassuring investors about issues regarding legislation on mining?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, when he spoke on the podium, he just mentioned the fact that he welcomed President Jacob Zuma having taken the bill back to Parliament for them to review its legal aspects. But I tried to probe him further as to the speed with which this matter would be dealt with. And like I said earlier, you know, it seems as though he won't really have much sway, but he is trying to convince people that it's a very important issue and it needs to be dealt with speedily. So it's really up in the air. We need to get Parliament in session and see how quickly they can deal with it. Remember, this piece of legislation was actually ready in December 2012, and it took ages for Parliament to deliberate. It never went to the NCOP, and then it finally landed on President Jacob Zuma's desk. So there's been a whole load of procedural issues with it, but substantively as well, there are issues with the Act. There's a 20% free carry, where government can have 20% stake in any new ventures in the oil and gas and mining sector going forward. Investors feel rather jittery about that because, you know, as far as they're concerned, the government will be getting a free part of the pie without the investment. So those are issues that need to be looked at, because then it may make us less attractive to invest in than other jurisdictions on the African continent. So I don't know if you want to ask me a following question, Colin.
Okay, just very quickly before you go, anything on the mining charter? Did they deliberate on these issues, especially various concerns about the stakeholders?
Okay, well, the minister did refer to the mining charter. A decision or the results of the mining charter in terms of mining companies' compliance therewith was supposed to have come out last year, but that process has been delayed somewhat. The minister did mention that, in fact, a process is underway to get the results out around March this year, and it will just seek to tell us who has been complying and who has not. And no doubt we'll also hear what sanctions are there, if at all, for those companies that haven't complied. But when you speak to mining houses, especially your big ones, they all claim that they're fully compliant. So that remains to be seen what the real truth is.
All right, Nompu, I think that we have the whole week to cover issues that come out of the mining Indaba, more especially other responses from different quarters. The mining companies themselves have sent delegates there from different countries, and I believe in our next discussions, in our future crossings to you, you will have gathered some information on their responses and will be able to deliberate on them. But for the moment, let me release you and I'll get in touch with you. Thank you very much. All right.